I want to thank the Hot 120 staff for allowing me to come back out to discuss the hot topics. This is Mr. H. For those that's been watching the videos that we put up, I'm Mr. H, and I just discuss the topics and give you that raw truth and let you decide for yourself how you feel about it. Today we want to talk about living in your house while black. Yeah, you might have heard driving while black, but there have been a few cases living in your house while black. I think Henry Louis Gates went through something several years ago when he was at his house and the cops came in and was harassing him at his house, and um, it got to so much notoriety that President Obama had to step in and have sit down and have a beer conversation with the police officer and Henry Louis Gates. You remember that? Well, recently in South Carolina, I believe, um, there's been another incident about that. um, about a guy that many of y'all might know. It's a guy that they call Tim Boss. Now, the reason why they call him Tim Boss is because down in South Carolina, in the Carolinas, he's one of the bosses, and not necessarily because of gang banging or selling drugs or nothing like that. Tim Boss, this is the name that he goes by. He has another name. I think it's an African name. Starts with an O. Uh, Tim Boss promotes parties. So here's a guy who used to work hard. Okay, him and his partners used to go out on the weekends, and when they would go out, they would buy everybody drinks. Okay, he went to one particular club, and he wanted to buy a woman a drink. He gave her $5 to get a shot. She came back and said she needed more money. The shots were going for $10. Well, once he saw that and saw how much the alcohol was going for in the club, that kind of motivated him to be a club promoter. And as you can see by him being in that store right there, he got the paper, right? So they call him Tim Boss. A lot of you probably been in his parties down in South Carolina. He's known to be a hardworking club promoter. All right. The guy is bringing home the cheese, bringing home the bread. Um, he lived in one community and he had to move out of there because they thought he was game banging. You know how it is when you begin to move in the higher echelons and you begin to move into gated communities that are not used to people, not used to people that look like you and maybe carry swag like you begin to have problems. And sometimes you can stand and fight those problems, or you can decide, you know what, it might be better if I just move somewhere else. So there was one particular time that he moved somewhere else. It is obviously that Tim Boss is getting, you know what I mean? And you see him there with the Hummer. So this is a guy who carries a lifestyle that seemed to be flamboyant. But if anybody know about club promotion, if you don't look like a club promoter, ain't nobody coming to your parties or your events. No rapper's gonna want to deal with you if you don't look like you getting it. So part of the culture of promoting uh, big events and things of that nature is that you got to have some of for lack of a better term, some of the bling that goes along with the culture in reference to the party promotion culture. So this guy is successful based on everything that we've seen, everything we research. Um, and he likes to live in decent homes in decent neighborhoods. So he likes to live good. Well, recently, in one of his South Carolina homes, um, he had a friend stay over who left the house early. When the friend left the house early, they didn't lock the door and they set off the alarm. And any of you that have an alarm in the house, you know, once everybody go to sleep, you put the alarm on. Anybody open those doors, the alarm goes off. You know how that works. So Tim Boss comes downstairs and he turns off the alarm and go back upstairs. But when he does that, the security people that monitor the system does not call the police and tell them disregard. The alarm has been cut off. So the police shows up. The door is open. Now, whether that door was ajar or it was just unlocked, That's yet to be determined. Now, if somebody left your house and didn't have a key, they wouldn't have a way to lock it, right? So the door might have been unlocked. According to the police report, the door was open. We don't know the truth of all that. So the police comes, the door's open, and you know if the police come on alarm, the door's open, they're going to go in. But when they go in, they start calling out, is anybody here? Anybody here? Identify yourself. Anybody? And he identifies himself. I live here. He's in his underwear. He's in his drawers. I live here. I have a firearm. Um, he didn't necessarily, because he was asleep, he didn't necessarily know that it was the police down there until he started coming down the steps with the firearm. And then once he realized it was police, he put the firearm down. Now the police see him coming down the steps in his underwear, but according to them, they're not sure that he lives there. Okay, so then the situation gets real messy. Gets real messy. And what happens is he keeps pleading with the police, right? If you see the guy with the glasses on top of his head, that's the first cop on the scene. Okay, with the brunette hair. He keeps pleading with the police that he lives here. The police was like, "Get down on your knees. Get down on your knees. Turn around. Turn around. Put your back to me. Get down on your knees." Well, Tim Boss didn't want to do that. So he got down on his knees in front of him. The cop got the gun drawn. And then at a certain point, Tim Dog, because the cop doesn't arrest him at that point, Tim Dog stands up and get back on the step. And the cop's like, "Don't move, don't move, don't move." And he's telling the cop that I live here. Well, make a long story short, extra cops start coming. Now, mind you, this is a you know, predominantly white neighborhood. So all these cops start showing up and they go inside. He's trying to say that he lived there. And then the supervisor cop showed up. And once the supervisor cop showed up, which is the guy right here, not the guy escorting Tim Boss out, but the guy, and not the guy with the brunette hair, but the guy right here with the blonde hair that's standing behind Tim Boss. They arrest him. They arrest him and take him out to the car and put him in the police car. Once they take him out to the police car, they clear the house. Okay? Nobody's in there. They clear the house. Everything Tim Boss says checked out. Okay? And then now they decide that, based on whatever they research, whoever they call, that he lives there and that he owns that's his property. Now the question becomes, why did they go that far? Did they go that far because of the color of his skin? That's why they didn't believe he uh, didn't live there at first? Was it because he was in his drawers? I mean, like, you just broke in and you're already in your drawers? Like, how does that happen? Um, is it because it's a predominantly white neighborhood and this is a black guy in the neighborhood and he might not live there? What was the reason that they arrest this guy in his underwear, dragged him outside to the police car, only to let him go to say, "Oh, you do live here"? So this is a classic case of living in your house while black. I don't know how far this is going to go. Some people are taking different sides. Some say the police acted professionally. I think they acted professionally in the sense that they didn't shoot the guy. But some of the other tactics might be questionable. Um, there might have been some things that Tim Boss could have did a little bit better in the situation. Let me talk to the culture. I'm talking to the world, but let me talk to the culture. If a police shows up, I'm just giving you protocol on dealing with police. A lot of you a lot of us, I'm gonna be real, a lot of black people, we like to get in a tick for tack with the police and like to argue about being oppressed over the years and police harassing us, which is all true, which is all documented facts. But being a person that has been pulled over by police several times and probably will be pulled over more in the future, I've learned that when police deal with us, they have a what we call in my circle unnecessary, unprovoked aggression. So their adrenaline is always higher when they're dealing with people of color. They come in on an adrenaline high. I mean, you just see it. It's just more aggressiveness when they come to deal with us. And so in knowing that, um, the faster you can assist them in making them feel secure, and what I mean by that is let them assess the situation and allow them to feel safe. Once they begin to feel safe, then they begin to calm down. If you keep arguing with them, going tick for tack, they're not going to feel safe, and their adrenaline is rising and rising. And when their adrenaline rise, they either go to flight or fight mode, and most of the time the police go to fight mode, and that's when they start throwing people all on the ground, harassing them, and even killing people. So one of the protocols that we need to teach young minorities is let the police assess the situation without you distracting them with your mouth. Whatever instruction they give you, follow it. Because if you are to be arrested, the sooner they can get you down to the precinct, the better. If you're not to be arrested, well, as soon as they can assess the situation, you'll be let go. But if you go tick for tack, one of these untrained officers will shoot you and kill you dead. Again, I want to thank Hot 120 Degrees for allowing me to speak on this topic. This is a classic case of living in your house while black. Please subscribe to our channel. Hit the subscribe button below. Hit the bell so you can be notified every time we post content. Please comment on this. I want to know your take on it. There's a video out on it. You can go on Facebook and look at the video to really get the whole take on it. Interested in your comments. I will respond to everyone that comment. Peace.